You know, now I notice that I think this is because after you beat the initial 30 floor climb, that Pearl, if you decide not to move for a while, she'll just go back to her normal form and just be with her sweetie. These two, they're the best, I swear. Yes, I've played Octo expansion, and some of their some of their chat logs are just the best. Anywho, let's just get back to the action, as we are now on attempt 6. So, Pearl, I command you to become a drone again. Anywho, into the tower again, into the gauntlet of pain, because I'm gonna try to avoid those floors, I swear. Anywho. You know what? Yeah, I'll take the times 2. Usually you get easy floors at the start of the run. Sometimes you'll get like 1 easy floor and 1 normal floor. Sometimes you may not even get an easy floor, and the lowest difficulty will be normal. Some floors will have many variations, like one having like one variation for 3 difficulties, or one only having 1 variation because they're a special floor and such, or like they either only have an easy mode variant, which is always on the lower floors, but there is a rigorous floor that only has an easy variation. The harder the floor, the higher the reward. And I'm explaining a lot of this stuff in this run simply because, well, this is the first run. A lot of the times I'm going to be sharing tips depending on the weapon as much as I can. And, well, that particular floor went by pretty easily because I think the lowest you can get is like 40 on that floor. Anywho, why'd you put that there? Let this be a floor that I'm going to be choosing to avoid, and for a good reason. I always dislike that floor for a good reason, and I'm basically going to be like attempting runs to just show that floor in another floor, but only for a bonus video once every weapon is done. And I'm doing this in piecemeal and such. I am not going to be doing these all back to back, otherwise I never get this done, because this is a very difficult thing to do. There's like another Let's Play I'm already thinking about on how I'm going to tackle it in terms of completion. This is uphill push floor. This is the real Sisyphean of the particular project. And the first project was the first objective was Splat Zone. It's similar to that of the game mode and such. Boy, this would be useful if we actually had the chip for it. Explosion knockback sounds really good, so let's take that. So now we will have a orange palette with an orange ink color with a pink, with a purple accent, and you can see that some of the colors do blend in really nicely. Now, your palette is always going to be dependent on what is the most abundant chip and the second most abundant chip. If you don't have like a second most abundant chip and your most abundant chip is just one color, it will stay primarily that color. However, if you have a second most abundant chip, whatever is your second most abundant will become the accent until another chip either overtakes the accented color, or the accented color is more abundant than the main color, and they swap places. Be careful with these battering lentos. They take a while to defeat and such. In the swarming Languendo, they are the fodder of this game mode, or this particular DLC. And they're not dangerous by themselves, but in droves of them, you don't want to underestimate them nibbling at your feet. Ink attack size, that's good. This would be good if I had the one thing, but I want this. I might be throwing away a run so early because I'm choosing to go to this floor, but it's don't use your sub weapon, which I haven't really been relying on, but I know this floor down to a science. This particular floor, you want to get the method of just basically running away from the opposition when you have a chance to. Just be absolutely careful. So, yeah. And just now your special, my recommendation for your special is to basically, like, the Trizuka is meant to fire huge lobs of ink and do a big amount of damage OHKOing squids and such. And they still do that for one boss fight. But in this game mode, I do recommend that you use it as a shoving tool because its knockback properties are really good. This sounds really good to have. We have a lot for floor 5, so let's actually take a bit of a breather. Speedrunners can use this as a floor skip button and such. But, yeah. Homing shots. Oh, yeah. Let's see. This is really good for certain bosses, but yeah, I want that. Having the ability to actually have lucky bomb drops all over the place is a really good means of ground control. Explosion knockback or just knockback. Yeah. Forward momentum floor, let's take it. And now purple's going to be my most abundant color. Now, your chips will vary and such, and don't glide. On this particular floor, gliding is a big non-issue. Yeah. This is just skiing with a skiing with an 8-ball. Yeah. Those lentos will try to play with the 8-ball like it's like they're puppies. It's adorable at first, but it gets really irritating rather fast. Oy. I don't want either of these, so I'm gonna take the special charge. As you can tell, the most abundant chip I have are support chips. Stuff like knockback, ink recovery, and then some. This particular game mode is all about defeating the fleeting foes, known as the panicking Alamambos. And if they get any semblance of your presence, they will book it. And it depends on the weapon because, well, yeah. Because even just hearing the weapon, like if you haven't even shot a single droplet of ink at them, they'll run. So yeah. This will be good, but I have right now my cat is just loafing and sleeping on my bed. She likes to sleep there, especially on this one Ziploc. There's one giant Ziploc bags that my family uses. Like, it's just like I just put like a couple of things that need to be washed in there. We don't exactly. This house is too small to have one of those. Have a washing machine, sadly. Yeah, that's how disastrous my move was. So we have to go to laundromat to get our laundry cleaned. So we would have certain like certain containers we'd use whenever we need whenever we want to have something cleaned next or something. And yeah. Now these portals, whenever you see that red aura shine around them, will spawn more enemies. Depending on the difficulty of the mode, will depend on, well, how many enemies spawn from it. Sometimes it's dependent on the floor as well. You really want me to do this floor. No, I'm not doing it. So yeah, yellow is my accented color since I have the, it's my second most abundant color. So yeah. This floor I know down to a science simply because I know what spawns to the left and the right. Just take care of the Caprioso and then just stave off any other intruders simply like so. Now, after the first wave, nothing will spawn until the first checkpoint, and of course the second the first checkpoint, you get lentos to deal with, and then after that wave is done, another will spawn, and that's about it. Yep. I don't know how Caprioso is actually pronounced. It's the two C's that mess with me. But now we get the easy mode boss. The elusive bounder floor. This is the one floor you want homing shots for, simply because one particular complaint I have with this boss is that it will always... Okay, like, its weak point is always, like, out in the open. It's that face it has. It has two of them. But the biggest issue is just trying to hit them. Like, it is protected by, like, this big bulking armor, and you have to constantly hit its weak points or hit it straight in the face. This attack that it does, the spin dash. If you faced it on floor 20, it will leave behind suction bombs in its wake, and sometimes it will do multiple passes depending on the phase. And believe me, you don't want to get in the way of that. And I didn't even get to use my third shot because the gauge ran out. It did the laser attack, which, if you make it hit a bumper, you can stop the attack, but it will spawn enemies. If you are using more of a lucky build, you can use this as a means to make sure luck drops happen. It's really good to do so, because at the very least you can get some items like some armor. And getting some extra armor, especially in a boss fight, is always good. And I think the arpeggios might have ran into the boss itself, because they would have come out by now. This attack is the most dangerous when it's in its smallest body shape. Like in its third phase, like the spin dash and the lasers are the most dangerous, simply because there's a lot of lasers, and if you're ever caught in it, well, that's a surefire way of getting yourself caught in critical stasis. I'm gonna call it critical stasis. Your movement is exceptionally hindered without hacks. And oh yeah, and there we go. That's how much I've known this boss for, and I still don't like it. And to think I was busy with one roguelite until Bolotro was gifted to me. And I didn't think I'd be into this kind of stuff. Of course. Ink attack size. Vending machine corner. Watch, I'm gonna get, like, no chips. Like, I've had that happen. These vending machines are built by Express. Of course, the game wants me to have a chip that I don't really want to get any use out of, simply because of the limited use case with it. Special charge up, swim speed up, or drone gauge charge. It's so hard to choose. The second tier of floors is definitely where the difficulty starts to ramp up. But I'm gonna take this swim speed up. So yeah, I know this floor simply because of one particular floor we'll come across. And depending on your chip set, like, this floor can become a non-issue if you have, like, enough knockback to basically make the ball go flying over the gap. No, you're not playing with the 8 ball. This is my ball. It's all dependent on how fast you're able to push the ball over the ramps. And sometimes they just won't do for the game. They just really want you to suffer. So of course, I really don't like doing. You will dislike marching lentos because of the 8 balls. Oy. Lucky chain window, that sounds good. Really? I mean, might as well get some membucks. It's always this floor. No matter which variation of this floor it is, it's always this floor that gives me the most trouble. Now, the second tier floors, unlike the first tier, where the first tier is more factory or museum-like, this one's more like an aquarium or an indoor pool. And even on normal, you have the most obnoxious selection of gelatins to deal with. You have normal mentes, you have marching lentos, and sometimes you'll have homing arpeggios. And they're the most obnoxious set of enemies to deal with. Use your specials on checkpoints if you're able to. It might speed up the process. So yeah, remember when I said use your special as a shoving tool? You saw that knockback? I think it might be because of explosion knockback. It was able to promptly deal with a huge squad in no time flat. In fact, I get to do it again. Yeah, these gushers, when there's no portals, is where the main source of enemies are gonna spawn. Oy. Sometimes Pearl can save your life, depending on how many hacks you have turned on. And boy, can Pearl save your life. You know what? I don't really have spending budget on the vending machine, and the vending machine is usually going to spawn in floor 15. It's a random chance, and it's this floor. This is an easy floor, but those ramps, there's only 2 things you have to deal with. The 3 8 balls, I think this is the most of any floor, and the accelerandos. It can be very easy to get caught off guard by these guys. because if you're caught like point blank, well, you're immediately put into critical stasis. So basically, use them whenever you can to like defeat one, so that way you can push the top in your stead. Just basically get it across. Like getting on the side of a ramp is always a nightmare. Yep. So yeah, I'm surprised I haven't gotten a single hindrance damage since the doubler at the start of the floor. Sometimes you can get doublers, and those are always good to. Usually they're really good to take, unless it's something that you can't really take advantage of. So yeah. Main range, that sounds good. Double decker, crisscross floor. You know, I'll take the run speed up if possible. I might overtake a chip in terms of which one's my most abundant chip. Now, depending on certain floors will depend on what's your what reward you get. I was hoping for a spectrum floor. This one, this is the worst to not get. Don't use your sub weapon, because for this floor, this is a 2 splat zone floor, and this is the type of floor that you want to use your sub weapon in. And again, if you can't do the challenge, then don't do it. Ugh. And this is the kind of floor that you want to be on the ball with dealing with capriosos. Ugh, such as this one. And, ugh, they already painted a bit in my zone. I think that's the best run I had on that floor. Well, one of the best runs. Yeah, certain floors will always reward pearls, like even if you don't successfully do the run, so yeah. You know, I don't want any of these floors. Sometimes the vending machine can just show up at inconvenient times, and even when it does, sometimes it may not even give you chips that you want. You know what? If only I had enough for 2, but might as well take it. As you can tell, that the blue chips are now my second most abundant chip. You know, I'll take this, the springing double hill floor. Now, for this floor, you have to deal with springing spiccatos. I think they're called spiccatos or something, or I'll put the enemy name on screen and such. Basically, they're these things, and if you defeat them, they'll leave their springs behind. Should they leave their springs behind, well, those particular springs can indeed be used in your favor. You can use it to ink a part of the turf. You can cover, like, you can attack portals with it to cover your splat zone. And they're really good to have. In fact, as you saw right there, the knockback qualities came in handy for it because of my explosion knockback. And this final push should be no trouble. Oh yeah, I think I'll look up how that enemy's name is pronounced in a little bit. Explosion knockback. Really? You make this a danger floor? I mean, sure, I can increase my I know this floor particularly, like, I can deal with it. But why, like, why did you make it a danger floor? Well, I have no drone, which means I have to deal with everything myself. Just like it the old-fashioned way. At the very least, I have the firing rate of that of a... The firing rate of that of a arrow spray. So, yeah. If you lose control and such, and well, those that counter will start ticking back up, and you have to basically get those ticks back. Oop. Those are always the worst to deal with. The worst run I ever had on this floor. Oy. Nope. Sorry if I go a bit silent here. I'm just busy just trying to take back my zone. That was not a fun fight. I feel they should reward more if it's going to be a danger floor. I'll take the swim speed up. Yeah. Like, I feel the names for... Also, I think blue is now my most abundant ship. I feel the names for each of the gelatins have to be not only musical references, but they have to be Italian. That or Latin. Usually a lot of things must be derived from Latin. And this floor, I've always had trouble on this floor. Well, at the very least, we can use our shoving tool the way, in the best way possible. Now we have to deal with one last portal, assuming we don't get, bomb rushed. Like that. Ugh. I have to find an opening. It's always difficult trying to find an opening for this particular floor. Because the moment I, had an opening, you saw the aura there. Well, yeah. Because it was either that or deal with the other floors that I don't like. Now for the hard mode boss of this floor. So yeah, layered rotator floor. This is going to be the hard mode variant of Asynchronous Rondo, which I believe the difficulty difference is in the spawn rate of its mooks and the spawn rate of and the type of projectiles it throws. Now you can get underneath it, but it will fire shockwaves. Basically, you can use that as a means to avoid the spotlight. Sometimes what's on the screens of the Asynchronous Rondo is what it fires, and what it has there is toxic mist, and sometimes it can fire many things, like when it launches, when it stops. The worst thing it can fire is the lasers. You don't want to fire the lasers. When it fires the lasers, you want to get underneath it, because the lasers cannot reach you there. Sometimes you can take out a weak point from a higher floor, and sometimes that higher floor takeout can also defeat the boss right there. And, sometimes when you want to jump and immediately get on the Pearl Drone, you just don't get on the Pearl Drone, and that's always the most annoying thing. Fortunately, it's just toxic mist that we're dealing with. I think I... Nope, this is bad. I'm not exactly handling this the best. Good thing I got that. Oh, because it's like the entire boss arena is covered in enemy ink. It's always the worst to get covered in, and like to be out of ink, and nowhere for you to swim to. So, nope. And it hasn't even changed its, projectile to throw. I've seen it change its projectile on floor 10, but on floor 20, I've never seen it not change its projectile. It will try to speed up as it attacks or as it tries to search you out. But sometimes you can just slow it down for a bit. And it's doing the worst attack. The one attack that I don't want to deal with. And... Of course! Of freaking course! It was right there! I get what? 2 good runs, and now I just can't even get there again. See you with attempt 7.